All right, good afternoon, everyone. You may now take your seats, I suppose, if you prefer that. Wow, I'm so glad that you all could make it today. I'm so happy I see a lot of familiar faces in the audience. And I'm astounded of all your support, really. Firstly, I'd like to thank Ascot, of course, for being such a generous host for this event. I think they deserve a good round of applause for that. Thank you so much, Ascot. It really means a lot to us. And of course, I'd like to thank Empire for making this happen. I'd like to thank the organization for first and foremost appointing me and giving me the distinct privilege of representing the Philippines. Wow, yeah, I'm still getting used to the fact that I will represent the Philippines, but rest assured that I'm grateful and I'm paying my gratitude forward. I've been really driven and dedicated to my training, spearheaded by aces and queens, who have also become a family of sorts already. Well, not of sorts, they really become my family. So I'm really thankful for them as well also, and I can't wait to get down to the nitty-gritty details of the Q&A later. But of course, I'd also like to thank my uncle, who has always been my rock in my life, and I can't wait to go to Vietnam. I miss the place so much, and we'll see what where this path will lead me to.
Thank you, Annabelle. You may now also take your sheet. Take two.
Take three.
Very charming send-off.
Also charming.
Yes, so if there are any takers for today's Q&A, yes, here at the front, Tito Norman.
Yeah, okay. There you go.
Of course, I have to ask the first question because I've seen Annabelle from way back. I've seen her beginnings in Pageant.
No, so the microphone seems to be static at the moment. So I have to raise my voice for you to. Hello. Okay, I'll just.
We'll have another microphone for you, Sir Norman, so that everyone will be able to
I
hear.
love microphones. Our apologies.
But the microphone doesn't seem to love you.
This one does.
This one does. Okay, live question muna tayo, Annabelle. The very first time that I think it's Mama J who may have told you that, oh, Annabelle, are you ready to represent our country in this chart? The very first time that you were told about that, what was your general reaction?
My general reaction, actually, it was actually a phone call that I got on one fateful day. Somewhat late October. It was actually Sir Derek from Empire who called me, and he said, do you want to go and represent the Philippines at Miss Charm? And at first I was dumbfounded because I didn't really see it coming. I thought that would be the end of my pageant journey for a long time at Miss Universe Philippines, but then that call caught me off surprise off of my lunch break from work, and with much thought I committed myself to it. And it wasn't a knee-jerk reaction to say yes, because pageantry is the national sport in the Philippines, practically speaking. I think most of the press can agree with that, and I know that there's a certain pressure when you carry the Philippine sash across your chest. But I thought long and hard about it, and that's what I signed up for when I joined Miss Universe Philippines. I signed up with a dream to represent the country, and now that it kind of found its way back to me, why would I say no? The answer would definitely be a yes, a resounding yes. And aside from saying that to Sir Derek over the phone, I think I've been saying yes each and every day to myself. Am I ready? Well, I show up every day as somebody who's willing to grow more as a person and willing to improve herself each and every day. And so that's how I've shown up over the past couple of months preparing for Miss Charm, and that's who I'm going to show up as in Vietnam come by tomorrow.
Thank you, Annabelle. Quick follow-up question lang. I know you're the type of person who would study, prepare for something, especially an assignment like this. What is your honest take about this charm? How do you understand this pageant? Kasi like, for the oldies among us, including myself, there used to be a Miss Charming international pageant way back when we were still young and beautiful. Yeah. Pero wala na yun, 1 or 2 years na yun. Now, may Miss Charm. I'm sure you studied about Miss Charm. What have you learned about Miss Charm? What's your personal take on it?
For Miss Charm International, I think one thing we have to take into consideration with the pageant is it's a one-of-a-kind pageant, be it that it advocates for and includes blockchain technology and the use of it in the voting process, and also in our other activities that are gonna come up and bubble up starting tomorrow actually, while the voting is actually ongoing. But moreover, it's quite dedicated to the idea of sustainable tourism, which I think is something that we should get back on, especially in the midst of a post-pandemic world where everybody is going back into their lives, but with also the question of how should I go back into my life? How should I ease back into it? And when it comes to tourism, we should already be talking about or asking ourselves that question: how can we make it sustainable? How can we make it inclusive? And so that's what Miss Charm is all about. It's about sustainable tourism. It's about advocating and democratizing access and information about blockchain technology, because we're in the midst of the fourth industrial revolution and we need to be ready. And so it's sort of a classroom setting, if you will, but make it pageantry. So I hope that we can all learn together with Miss Charm.
Thank you for that, Annabelle, and good luck. Kahit puro big words ang ginamit niya, no? Okay. Next sa institution, Mr. Nolly Berrioso.
Hi,
Hello, good afternoon.
I'm Nolly. Anyway, if you will win Miss Charm International for 2023 in Vietnam, what immediate plan do you have in mind to promote the cause of the organization, like in tourism and culture and other educational activities?
Well, in the contract, when I do win Miss Charm International 2023, I get 1 day to go back to the Philippines. And what I have in mind as my first project for Miss Charm is to go back to supporting some of the indigenous communities I've worked with in the past, particularly the Malindawag ancestral domain of the Higaonon tribe in Awan, Misamis Oriental, and moreover the Rugomon Sikyop Agricultural Cooperative, led by 3 tribes in Iligan, who I've also worked with alongside. And just recently, actually, I'm proud to say that Save the Children has also approved one project with them as well. So I guess that's the first thing I would do should I win Miss Charm International 2023, because I think indigenous communities have always been sustainable in their efforts to conserve the environment and to preserve their culture and heritage, which is something that Ms. Charm is also looking into, considering that the Vietnamese people are also quite similar in that sense, in terms of sustaining and preserving their heritage and culture. So that's probably at the top of my list, Sir Noli.
Okay, just a follow-up lang. So, what particular aspect of Miss Charm Philippines do you look forward to, or rather, what aspect of the competition do you need more weight to boost your chance of winning the title?
I think it's
Meron
just.
ba?
Well, that's an interesting question. But I suppose I really just have to focus on the mindset. I think a Miss Charm is someone who's gracious enough to accept her shortcomings and positive enough to work upon them, and that's the game plan that I've set out for myself since the day I was appointed.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Nolly. We've heard her speak already. This woman is prepared. This woman is a woman with a plan. Are there any other questions?
Oh, there's more.
Yes, of
There's
course.
more.
Sir, please.
Hi, my name is Peter from Critical Media Philippines. I'm sorry for my ignorance. Please doubt it. Please educate us on the blockchain technology.
All right. Well, with what we have right now, because there are three webs, right? Web 1 was the basic internet that we had in the 90s. And Web 2 is how we typically use the internet now. It's social media. It's not just information being set and spoon-fed to you in Web 1. Web 2 is giving people like us the chance to input their own ideas and their own content on Web 2. But with Web 3, it's a more transparent way of, it's a whole different ballgame of transparency, security, and moreover, it allows us not only to input information, but also be amongst ourselves as well, like what you see in the metaverse, or as a more instantaneous means of transactions, like our sponsors, namely Pageant and MetaMask with the e-wallets. I think in the Philippines, our most recent, or rather our most common way of engaging with it is our e-wallets that we have on our phones. So that's just a basic gateway that you can use to get to know more about Web3 and blockchain technology. But in the context of Miss Charm, we use it for the voting process. So it's completely transparent. You can see users input or vote for their certain candidates in real time.
Thank you, Annabelle, for educating us all a little bit more about the blockchain and about Web3. Perhaps you'd also want to share some of the voting, or a way for the people to vote while they're all here and broadcasting it all.
Exactly. The voting's already ongoing, and it's going to be so until February 10. So you can purchase certain NFTs with my face on it, and you can check out the links to it on either the Instagram or Facebook pages of Miss Charm. There's even a whole e-manual on how to vote for your candidate. Vote for me, specifically. Yeah, so there's a whole guide to it. But you basically just need to download either the Pageant application on your phone or the MetaMask application on your phone. And you're pretty much good to go to purchase the NFT, and that'll be counted as a vote towards me. And because there's a special award called Miss Block Charm.
Interesting. Thank you very much, Annabelle. So, an NFT with your face on it. Let's call it the McDonnell.
There are several NFTs that you can choose from as well.
Okay, I will download the MetaMask later. Are there any other questions? Yes, please.
Charming afternoon, Annabelle, and to all of you guys. This is Jay from Pageant Trend.
Charming ang question. Charming ka dyan.
Question for you, dear. What are you looking forward for this pageant, especially in Vietnam?
What I'm looking forward to? Probably more pho. Other Vietnamese goodies that I can get my hands on. But in all seriousness, I'm quite excited about discovering more about the Vietnamese culture, because you would actually be surprised that the Southeast Asian region actually had a very porous border during the pre-colonial times. So I'm quite excited to see the common ground that our Filipino culture has with the Vietnamese culture as well. I mean, their hospitality is something that we can definitely relate to a lot. And I can't wait to enjoy more of it tomorrow.
Alright, another follow-up question for you. What are your charming mindset in winning this pageant?
A charming mindset probably begets a lot of courage. I think when you acknowledge within yourself that you'll never be 100% perfect, but you'll always be 100% game to showing up as the person you choose to be each and every day. I think that's what a charming mindset's all about. I mean, I've never let the difficulties of life, the labels that people have put upon me, the label of where I come from, where I live, or my socioeconomic status get me down. I mean, I've always seen beyond what people tell me what people tell me to do, or what people tell me that, oh, This is all that you're ever going to amount to. I've always looked beyond that, and I chose to see the version of myself that I want to be, and I think I'm her currently.
Alright, thank you so much and congratulations in advance.
Do you have another question?
Why?
Yes. Hello, Annabelle. I am Benj from Sash Factor, which is also the media partner of Miss Charm. Yes. So my question for you is, gaano ka ka-prepared para sumabak sa pageant na to, which is the first edition, the inaugural edition of this pageant? And ano yung dadalhin mong Filipino culture or ano yung ipagmamalaki mo na galing sa Pilipinas at dadalhin mo sa Miss Charm?
I think I'm 95% ready because there's still a long way to go, and I think I'd like to build myself up each and every day. But moreover, what Filipino aspect of our culture that I can bring to the table, I'd have to say first and foremost our charming and genial nature. I mean, we've always been a very warm people, and that's something that I'd like to let my Miss Charm sisters enjoy. But I think I'd also like to bring a touch of the value of tradition, of keeping to your values, your core principles, and putting the community first rather than yourself. I think that I'll bring that aspect as a Miss Philippines at Miss Charm, particularly with the charitable causes that will also benefit from the NFT voting process as well. So that's what I have up my sleeve.
Yes, thank you, Annabelle. For my follow-up question, can you give us a hint for your national costume? And do you feel any pressure right now?
With my national costume, mabango siya.
Ay, air freshener.
Very fresh. And I don't feel pressure right now. I'm actually very excited. I'm very excited. Thank you so much, Sash Factor. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. And we have another question, yes?
Yes, hello, good afternoon. Francois here from Pageant Philippines.
Hello po.
Hello po. Annabelle, I just wanted to know your feelings or your reaction about competing with the crossovers, because we have learned that there are a number of delegates that are competing with Miss Charm being crossovers.
Crossovers meaning candidates that have been part of previous pageants, am I
Yes,
correct?
like Miss Universe, Miss World.
Well, I can't wait to meet them. I've actually met one of your crossovers, in a matter of saying. I've met, the first person that I made friends with was B from Cambodia. She represented them at Miss Universe, and I think we hit it off pretty well considering how she would tell me stories about her experience. And I think I'm quite excited just to hear about their experience as well, and moreover, how different Miss Charm will have to be for them. And I think through their eyes, I can better appreciate and understand the Miss Charm organization better.
Wow, that's great. And when can you consider yourself being your most charming moment as well?
I think my most charming moment is something that you'll just have to witness come the coronation night.
So that's a surprise.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Wala
much.
bang calibrating questions?
Thank you. We have another question.
Yes. Hello, Annabelle. This is Tristan from the Philippine Pageantry. First, I think, can you please tell us your experience in visiting Vietnam last year in preparation for Miss Charm International Pageant this year?
Right. Well, I just spent a day and a half there, so I can't wait to stay longer. You know, I get a good grasp of the culture. But when we got there, I met B at the airport, and then they practically just transported us to the hotel. I met my other sisters from the continent of Asia, and then we began the press conference. I met a few of the committee, basically, you know, the organization of Miss Charm, and I was just thrilled on how hospitable they are, how warm they are, and how well coordinated everything is. And it was quite a grand welcome, and I can't wait for an even grander pageant period to begin. Moreover, we just went on one very brief city tour. They just toured us around Ho Chi Minh. And while I would have loved to, meet the local people and get a taste of their infamous Vietnamese coffee and all that, we were the time was quite limited. So I can't wait to actually get a better grasp of that come tomorrow. But it was such a lovely, as brief as it may be, it was such a lovely visit, and I can't wait to experience more of that.
And being excited for your first ever international pageant. Hopefully you win and become our first Miss Charm International title holder. How are you going to charm your way through the hearts of Vietnamese people and charming your way to the crown?
Particularly with that, I think when you stay true to your core values and when you stay true to who you are, that's one sure way of getting what you want from life. In my experience, there were so many temptations to have a shortcut to success in whatever form that you could think of. I mean, I remember it was just 8 years ago that I was struggling to make ends meet. I didn't know if I could ever get a college education. I didn't know where I was going, really. We were doing everything. I mean, I was selling bread in high school. We cooked in the morning and barbecue at night. We would sell ukay-ukay clothes on the weekends. We were doing everything to make ends meet. And I distinctly remember the day that Pia won. It really inspired me because it wasn't a good day. We weren't selling that much, and we went home pretty sad. We went home with practically nothing. And when we did get home, and I went on my phone, and that great news really sank in because Pia actually has Iliganon roots. If you guys don't know, she has Iliganon roots, and I thought to myself, well, if she could do it, then maybe I could as well. You know what I mean? Like to represent the Philippines, to be someone beyond yourself. That's something so surreal and so far off thinking about it. But I'll just take a moment really to let it all sink in, pardon me. But what really kept me going all those years was the thought of, is it possible? Can I make something out of myself? Is it possible? Can I make it happen? And I've always had this vision of making it somehow. And it didn't really matter to me anymore what field I could succeed in. But I did, by God's grace, I did found my way into pageantry. And with each experience I had from the provincial pageants that I won, and up until Miss Universe Philippines, and up until the day I was appointed as Miss Charm Philippines, I never really saw it coming. Like I always dreamed of these things happening, but I would just focus on myself and work on what I could do. I didn't focus on what was beyond my control. I focused what was within my control, within my orbit, what I could do for myself. And I always dreamed of being the person that could someday pay it forward. And even before being appointed as Miss Charm, just being the first runner-up at Miss Universe Philippines, it really changed my life. It really changed how I viewed myself and what I could do, and it really opened a lot of doors for me. And I'm so glad that with the little that I still have now, I can use my pocket to bless other people. You know what I mean? I mean, just recently I had this message on Instagram, and she said, "Ate, congratulations. I'll pray for you because." Like, she congratulated me on being appointed as Miss Charm, and she said, because you believed in my dreams, I'll believe in your dreams as well. And it turns out the child that I had partly sponsored her badminton equipment a few months back, she ended up winning 2 gold medals at her competition, and she was the underdog in the competition. And I think that's just one funny way of God showing me that I really am always the underdog, but I think the underdog can really come out on top if she wills it.
That's, yes. Last question, finally. You exude so much charm. How do you define charm?
Some charm isn't something that's forced, it just is. And so, while I'm very strong-willed and determined to go for what I want, I've also learned the value of relaxing and just letting go and being myself, being free from the pressure that I put on myself, but also being free from other people's expectations. I think everything, even my appointment as Miss Charm Philippines came as a surprise. So being charming is just being full of surprises, and I think I have a lot of them up my sleeve.
Best of luck.
Thank you so much.
We'll be there in Vietnam.
Wow!
No, I mean, TPP and Pageant Genius will be there for you.
Nice, see you. See you soon.
Gerard is there.
Oh yeah, Gerard.
Yes.
Thank you, Sir Tristan, for your questions. I also just want to say, when you post, ladies and gents, please use the hashtags #DiscoverASR, #DiscoverASRPhilippines, #AscotPH, and #AscotBonifacio Global City. Thank you very much, and we have time for one more question. Yes.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Kim from the Daily Tribune. So, the search is on for the next Miss Universe Philippines. So, what's your advice to the next Miss Universe Philippines?
The next Miss Universe Philippines, I don't think I feel qualified to give advice just yet, but for the next Miss Universe Philippines, I think whether you come from the province or perhaps a more highly urbanized city, it doesn't matter. You shouldn't let what other people think of you or expect you to be bog you down or bloat you up or bloat your ego up. I think what people say is really irrelevant compared to what you say to yourself each and every day. When you wake up in the morning and look yourself in the mirror, and when you go to sleep at night. I think you should just focus on what you can control and work on that and see what happens. And before anything else, I'd also just like to take this opportunity to thank the local government unit of Iligan City. They have been a tremendous help with regards to my preparation for Miss Charm International as well. I'd like to thank Mayor Frederick Xiao and the whole tourism department of Iligan City for really making all of our shoots happen. So stay tuned for that. I'd like to thank Miss Hannah May Padilla and the rest of the tourism department as well of Iligan City. Thank you so much, and I'll make you proud.